So today I'll be dealing with the same play. Yesterday I could do only 2 acts, and I was able to give you introduction for 10 to 15 minutes, introduction on Shakespeare. Today, continuing with the same play, so I have to deal with 3 more acts, Act 3, 4, and 5. It's the tragedy of Julius Caesar. So continuing with the same play, let us see what is there restored in the same text for us for the readers. So in Act 3, you can see in Act 3, they have prepared completely, as I told you yesterday, they have created a plot, all the senators, including Cassius, they have created a plot. According to that plot conspiracy, Caesar has to come for the capital where they are supposed to have a meeting to choose Caesar as the future king. So they have decided to choose Caesar as the king of Rome, Roman Empire. But according to that plot or the conspiracy, so it's just the invitation. The invitation is just a plot or the conspiracy to kill Caesar. The reason behind it is to kill Caesar, and they have invited him. So, as I told you, Caesar is not liable to fear. He doesn't care for his death. So he is all set to come and attend that dinner party, and you can say even the meeting that they are hosting. The people like Casca, Cinna, Cassius, Brutus, they're all waiting for Caesar's arrival. And Caesar comes there with the company of Mark Antony. Act 3, Scene 1. You can see he comes along with Mark Antony. You can see what happens there. You can see the pride of Caesar even here in Act 3, Scene 1, where he compares himself to Northern Star. Northern Star ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಧ್ರುವ ನಕ್ಷತ್ರ ಅಂತೀರಲ್ಲ. So the star which guides the ships, on the sea, which are sailing on the sea. So the same Northern Star, he compares himself to the Northern Star. The Northern Star, ಧ್ರುವ ನಕ್ಷತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ. I could be well moved if I were as you. If I could pray to move, prayers would move me. But I am constant as a Northern Star. So you can see, you can underline the pride with that statement. There is a pride, ego. He is so confident about himself. Who? Julius Caesar. He is pretty sure that nobody can do anything to him. So what happens there? So they succeed in winning his confidence. Who? All the senators who are waiting for him to kill, they succeed. In the first scene itself, Act 3, first scene, you can see. So he comes there, they succeed in winning his confidence, and what they do. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸಾಯಿಸ್ತಾರೆ? So Caesar is murdered. He is killed by stabbing at the back. ಅವನ ಬೆನ್ನಿಗೆ ಚೂರಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಅವರನ್ನು ಸಾಯಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. Okay, so Casca, it is Casca and Casca, Decius, Cinna, they all attack Caesar. And they all stab in the back. ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಬಂದು ಡ್ರ್ಯಾಗನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಏನು ಡ್ರ್ಯಾಗರ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ. Usually like almost ಕತ್ತಿ ಟೈಪ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, they all stabbing from the back. And what do they utter? The irony is, ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಸಾಯಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಜೂಲಿಯಸ್ ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಕೊಂದ ನಂತರ they all utter the words like liberty, freedom, tyranny is death, tyranny is dead. Liberty, freedom. As I told you, liberty and freedom, they are all the principles of what? Principles of republic. No. So the basic principles of Republican ideology are freedom and liberty. ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ freedom and liberty are the basic principles, and they are the guiding principles of Republican ideology. So they all have to obey that ideology. And as I told you, Brutus is very much patriotic and very much addicted to that ideology, Republican ideology. He loves Republican ideology and he sticks to that, isn't it? So you can see what happens in the play. So in that scene, Act 3, Scene 1, you can see all these characters, the senators, who who stab Julius Caesar from the back. ಅವ್ರ ಅವ್ನ ಬೆನ್ನಿಗೆ ಚೂರಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ದೇ ಅಟರ್ ದೀಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್, ಲುಕ್ ಅಟ್ ದೀಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್, ಲಿಬರ್ಟಿ, ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್, ಟೈರನಿ ಇಸ್ ಡೆಡ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ದ ironical contrast is the blood-stained evidence of murder versus peace and liberty. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಲೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಜೂಲಿಯಸ್ ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಕೊಲೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ರಕ್ತ ಸಿಕ್ತ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದೇಹ ರಕ್ತದ ಮಡುವಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆ, ಕತ್ತಿಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ರಕ್ತ ಸಿಕ್ತ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಇವ್ರ ಕೈಗಳು ಕೂಡ ರಕ್ತದಿಂದ ಒದ್ದೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಅವರ ಬಾಯಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪದಗಳು ಯಾವುದು? ಲಿಬರ್ಟಿ, ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್. ಲಿಬರ್ಟಿ, ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್. ಸಿನ್ಹಾ ಕೂಡ ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಟೈರನಿ ಇಸ್ ಡೆಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ರೂರತ್ವದ ಸಾವಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಟೈರನಿ ಕ್ರೂರತ್ವ, ಬಿಭತ್ಸ ಅಂತಿರಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ. ಟೈರನಿ ಕ್ರೂರತ್ವ, ಟೈರನಿ ಇಸ್ ಡೆಡ್, ಲಿಬರ್ಟಿ, ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್, ಟೈರನಿ ಇಸ್ ಡೆಡ್. ಕ್ಯಾಶಿಯಸ್ ಅವನೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಲಿಬರ್ಟಿ, ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎನ್ಫ್ರಾಂಚೈಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ. And Brutus, ambition's debt is paid ಅಂತಾನೆ. Brutus, ambition's debt is paid ಅಂದ್ರೆ they all know that Julius Caesar was ambitious, like Macbeth. Macbeth killed Duncan to become king, but here Julius Caesar didn't kill anyone except he defeated Pompey in that war at Philippi. But what happens here? They all know that Julius Caesar is ambitious and he wants to be the future king or the future emperor of Rome. So in order to what, put a full stop for his ambition, they all conspire to kill him. And Brutus, first of all, Brutus, the very reason for Brutus, the very fact for Brutus to kill, the reason behind the killing of Julius Caesar for Brutus is over ambition. So ಅವನು ಅತಿಯಾದ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ambition ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ ಅಂತಿರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಸರಿಯಾದ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತು ಅಂತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ambition's debt is paid. Ambition's debt is paid. That is what Brutus says. And Brutus also says, Brutus ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅದೇ ಆಕ್ಟ್ scene 1 ಅಲ್ಲಿ, and let us bath our hands in Caesar's blood. Look at this man, the same Brutus in the Act 1. In the Act 1, Scene 1, was very much worried about the future of Julius Caesar. When the soothsayer says, beware of 8th of March ಅಂತ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ 15ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ತುಂಬಾ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿರೋ, ನಿನಗೇನೋ ಒಂದು ಭಯಾನಕವಾದಂತ ಒಂದು ಘಟನೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿನ್ನ ದೇಹಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಚಕಾರ ಇದೆ, ನಿನಗೆ ಸಾವು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ soothsayer, the ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ಹೇಳೋನು ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾನಲ್ಲ. So what happens here? At that time, the same Brutus had advised Julius Caesar to be at home, ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಇರು, ಪ್ಯಾಲೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರು, ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇವಾಗ ಅದೇ ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಕೊಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಆ ಕೊಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್, look at these words, what does he says? ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? Let us bath our hands in Caesar's blood. And he also utters the same words. Which are those words? The principles of Republican ideology. What are those words? Peace, freedom and liberty. Let's all cry peace, freedom and liberty. Freedom, liberty, peace ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶಾಂತಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಒಂದೇ, ಲಿಬರ್ಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಒಂದೇ. There is not much difference in political term. Liberty, it's more a political term than freedom. Caesar may be a tyrant, but he is also stabbed in the back. The conspirators may be convinced of the rightness of their cause, but cold-blooded murder operating under the guise of flattery cannot appear in action as anything but vicious, whatever the reasons. We may not be moved to pity for Caesar, but we do recognize the pathos of Brutus, obliged to kill his friend for his principles. This is very, very important. We may not be moved to pity for Caesar. ನಮಗೆ ಸೀಸರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅನುಕಂಪ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಓದುಗರಾಗಿ, as a reader, as a follower of literature, a serious follower of literature, a serious reader of literature, we don't feel pity for Caesar, because the reason is Caesar was a tyrant. Caesar was merciless. In order to become emperor, he was ready to do anything. So Caesar was a tyrant, means Caesar was all set to become a dictator. So he had that dictatorial mental tendency. ಆ ಮಾನಸಿಕ ಒಂದು ಡಿಕ್ಟೇಟರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ವಾಧಿಕಾರಿಯ ಗುಣಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಸೀಸರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. That is the reason why readers don't feel pity for Caesar. But certainly readers do have pity or sympathy for Brutus. So for Brutus. So the reason is, as I told you, Brutus is fighting for a noble cause. What is that noble cause? To uphold the Republican ideology. So Republican ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತಗಳನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಸೊ ರಿಪಬ್ಲಿಕನ್ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತಗಳನ್ನ ರೋಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಲಿ, ಹಾಗೆ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನು ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಕೇಸ್ ವಿ ಮೇ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಮೂವ್ಡ್ ಟು ಪಿಟಿ ಫಾರ್ ಸೀಸರ್, ಬಟ್ ವಿ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ದ ಪಾಥೋಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್, obliged to kill his friend for his principles. ಸೊ ಅವನ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತನನ್ನ, ಅವನ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತಗಳಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತನನ್ನೇ ಸಾಯಿಸುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಗೆ ದೂಡಲ್ಪಡ್ತಾನೆ ಯಾರು? ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್. ಸೊ ಅನುಕಂಪ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸಹಜವಾಗಿ ಓದುಗರಿಗೆ ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಹೊರತು ಸೀಸರ್ ಮೇಲಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, here we can see Antony's naked undisguised grief, hatred and an impassioned desire for revenge. The gentlemen become these butchers later. So Antony, Mark Antony, as I told you, has accompanied Caesar in this scene. So he goes wherever Caesar goes, because he was a very good friend of, very close ally of Julius Caesar. And Mark Antony is in fact very much present at the time of the killing of Caesar. So Caesarನ ಕೊಲ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಂಟೋನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತನಿರ್ತಾನೆ. So there is and is very, 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 very cunning in nature. That is what the critics say. Critics ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಂಟೋನಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಕನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಒಂದು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೀವು, ಏನು ಮೋಸ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಮೋಸ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಗುಣ, ವಂಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಗುಣಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳು ಅವನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ದೋ ಹಿ ಅಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಜೆಂಟಲ್ಮನ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ನೇಚರ್, ಹೊರ ಜಗತ್ತಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಜೆಂಟಲ್ಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾನೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಂಟೋನಿ. ಬಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಫೀಲ್ ದಟ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಆಂಬಿಷಿಯಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಗೈಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಅವನಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಿತ್ತು, ಮುಂದೆ ಒಂದಿನ ನಾನು ರೂಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಏನನ್ನ ರೋಮ್ನ ರೂಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಅವನಿಗೂ ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಈ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ರೋಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಫ್ಯೂ ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಲೈಕ್ along with Octavius Caesar ಜೊತೆ ಅವನು ಆಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದು Octavius Caesar defeats Mark Antony and becomes the king. So that is history. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಕೊಲೆ ಆದಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದಂತ Mark Antony was present very much at the time of the killing. So he is very, very wise, intelligent, very, very uncanny in nature. So he just wants to escape from the situation. ಸೊ ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭನ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು, ನಾನು ತಿರುಗಿ ಬಿದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇವರು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಅವೇರ್ ದಟ್ ಇಫ್ he revolt or if he give a fitting reply, he is going to get a severe punishment. He might be killed. ಅವನನ್ನ ಸಾಯಿಸಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು, ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕೊಲೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಇವರು ಒಂದು ಭಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So what he says, so he's so intelligent and wise, and in fact it is Brutus. It is Brutus who intervenes and advises Cassius not to kill Mark Antony, because he doesn't find Mark Antony harmful or threatening. ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಅವನಿಂದ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ, ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಂಟನಿಯಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ he won't pose any kind of danger. He is not threatening, he is not harmful ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಅವನು ಅನ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ, ಯಾರು ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್, ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆಲ್ ಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಟು ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಅಲೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಂಟೋನಿ ಟು ಸರ್ವೈವ್. They don't touch Mark Antony at all at that situation. They allow him to live. So what happens there? So even you see Cassius after the killing of Brutus, what does he say? Cassius ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ Act 3 Scene 1 ಅಲ್ಲೇ, the men that gave their country liberty, ನನ್ನ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಜನ ನಾವು ಅಂತ. The men that gave their country liberty by killing Julius Caesar, we have given liberty to our country. So they are fighting for a noble cause. What is that noble cause? By killing Julius Caesar, they have given liberty for their nation. That is Roman Empire. So you can see Antony, Mark Antony, very, very cunning in nature, very, very deceptive, very, very deceptive. Tumba deceptive, DECEPTIV, deceptive, very, very deceptive. ಅವನ ಕೋಪ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. He is frustrated, very, very angry by the killing of Julius Caesar. He knows that what they have done is not right, but he could not defend, he could not fight, he could not save his friend, though he was present physically. So that, but still, he wants to take revenge. He wants to give them a befitting reply. But as I told you, he is very, very wise. He waits for his turn and situation. So he advises all these senators who killed Julius Caesar to defend their cause, cause of killing Julius Caesar in front of the Roman mob. The Roman mob and the crowd ಏನಿದೆ, mob, MOB, mob. ಈ ರೋಮನ್ ಮಾಬ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ರೌಡ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರ ಮುಂದೆ, ಜನಗಳ ಮುಂದೆ ನೀವು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಯಿಸಿರಿ ಸೀಸರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಕಾರಣ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನೀವು ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನೀವು ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ರೋಮನ್ ಜನಗಳ ಮುಂದೆ ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಯಾಕೆ ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಕೊಂದ್ರಿ ಅಂತ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ನಿಮ್ಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, Brutus in fact says, he asks Mark Antony, he advises Mark Antony to speak later, so grant that, and then his death a benefit. So are we Caesar's friends that have abridged his time of fearing death. Stoop, Romans, stoop, and let us bath our hands in Caesar's blood. Adella helayitu nanu, I read it. So let us see what Brutus says to Antony. He hides his grief. ನಾನು ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಅವನ ದುಃಖವನ್ನ ಬಚ್ಚಿಟ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ. ಯಾರು? ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ ಆಂಟೋನಿ. ಓ ಮೈಟಿ ಸೀಸರ್, does thou lie so low, or all thy conquest glories, trims, spoils shrunk to this little measure? Fare thee well, I know not, gentlemen, what you intend. Who else must be let blood? Who else is rank? If I myself, there is no art so fit as is as death's art, nor so instrument of that work as those your swords made rich. ಇದನ್ನ ಜನಗಳು ಆ ಸೆನೆಟರ್ಸ್ ನ ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. He hides his grief, okay, and allows them. So he asks them to defend in front of the Roman mob. ರೋಮನ್ ಜನಗಳ ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನೀವು ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ. So look at this Brutus. Mark Antony, here, take your Caesar's body. ತಗೊಂಡೋಗು ಸೀಸರ್ನ ದೇಹವನ್ನ. You shall not in your funeral speech blame us. ಅಂದ್ರೆ you should not blame us in the funeral speech. ಅಂತ್ಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರದ ಒಂದು ವಿದಾಯ ಭಾಷಣ ಏನಿದೆ, ಸೀಸರ್ನ ವಿದಾಯ ಭಾಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಬ್ಲೇಮ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. You should not blame us in that funeral speech, but speak all good you can devise of Caesar, and say you do it by our permission. So you can speak anything good about Caesar. You can say, if you want to praise Caesar, you can do it. So Caesar na ಹೊಗಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಹೊಗಳಬಹುದು. You can do whatever you want, but for that you should take our permission and say you do it by our permission, else shall you not have any hand at all about his funeral. ನೀನು ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ನೀನು ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕೈಗಳಿರಲ್ಲ, ನಿನ್ನ ಕೈಗಳನ್ನ ಕತ್ತರಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ. So he is warning, threatening Mark Antony, Brutus. So he also says you should speak, so you should allow me to speak first. So what does he say? Else shall you not have any hand at all about his funeral, and you shall speak in the same pulpit whereto I am going after my speech is ended. So ನನ್ನ ವಿದಾಯದ ಭಾಷಣ ನನ್ನ ವಿದಾಯದ ಭಾಷಣ ಮುಗಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ನೀನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, ನೀನು ಮಾತಾಡಬಹುದು. ಆದರೆ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಅಸ್, ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಸ್. ನಮ್ಮ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಏನು ಕೂಡ ನೀನು ಮಾತಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೋನ್. ನಾವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವೋ ಅದೇ ಟೋನಲ್ಲಿ ನೀನು ಕೂಡ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಸ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ caution or warning. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್, so they all bring his body in front of the Roman public at the center of the capital. Rome capital ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು ಇಡ್ತಾರೆ ದೇಹವನ್ನ. and there are people gathered, they have gathered to witness the body of Caesar. And you can see all the senators are there with Brutus. Okay, Cassius is also along with him. And look at this Brutus. This is one of the famous speech. You can see Brutus' reply and also Antony's speech later. How does Brutus defend his cause for the killing of Julius Caesar? And later on, you can see the political oratory of Mark Antony later. Once Brutus finishes his speech, you can see Mark Antony taking the center stage, and Mark Antony speaks as a politician. In fact, he speaks like a politician, as I told you. It's a political oratory. Okay. And look at these words of Brutus. So, he's very, he's proving how patriotic he is, what kind of chauvinistic nature. I mean, it's too much of love, excessive love towards nation. ದೇಶಾಭಿಮಾನ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸಿವ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ವೆರಿ ಪೇಟ್ರಿಯಾಟಿಕ್, ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ಸೊ ವೆರಿ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಇದೆ ಯಾರಲ್ಲಿ, ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಿಸಿಬಲ್ ವಿತ್ ದೀಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ಬಿ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಟಿಲ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಅವೇ he says, be patient. So listen to me carefully. Be patient till the last. Romans, countrymen and lovers, hear me for my cause and be silent, that you may hear. Believe me for mine honor, and have respect to mine honor, that you may believe. Censure me in your wisdom, and awake your senses, that you may the better judge. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say that Brutus' love to Caesar was no less than his. So he's preparing the foundation what to his speech. ವೇದಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ, preparing the ground for his speech. So he says, so you have to believe me, believe my cause, and be silent that you may hear. ಮೌನವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತಾನೆ. Okay, believe me for my honor, and have respect to my honor, that you may believe. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಗೌರವಯುತವಾಗಿ ನನಗೆ ಗೌರವ ಕೊಡೋದೇ ನಿಜವಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿಲೀವ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ, ನನ್ನ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ನೀವು ನಂಬಲೇಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಸೆನ್ಶೋರ್ ಮೀ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ವಿಸ್ಡಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅವೇಕ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಮೇ ದ ಬೆಟರ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್. ಸೊ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜ್ಞಾನವೊಂದನ್ನ, ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಚ್ಚರಗೊಳಿಸಿ ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಸರಿ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೋ ತಪ್ಪು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವೇ ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ. So be a good judge. So people, he is asking the Roman mob, including the plebeians. There are plebeians, few plebeians, again respective people who come there to judge, they again enter, and the plebeians again, the senators and the plebeians, they all have accumulated there. They have joined the assembly. It is the gathering. So this is what he says. So Brutus ಈ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. How does he defend the killing? And he is preparing the ground. And what does he says? ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಜನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಯಾರು ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸ್ತೀರೋ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸ್ತೀರೋ. ಸೊ ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸುವಂತ ಜನ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಆದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನಷ್ಟು ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರಿಂದಲೂ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. So look at these words. If there be any in this assembly, if there be any in this assembly, love to Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demand why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. This is my answer. So if there is any friend who really wants to know why did I kill Caesar, so if there is any closest friend to Caesar like me, so if they want to know the real cause or the reason behind the killing, let me tell you, let me answer such a question. Okay, these words. Not that I loved Caesar less. Very, very important. So this itself reflects, portrays or picturizes or projects the character of Brutus. The true nature, the quality of Brutus is beautifully explained in these words. So what does he says? ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? So what is he saying here? Not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. So not that I loved Caesar less. Caesar nanu kammi ಪ್ರೀತಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. As a friend, I loved Caesar more than anybody in this assembly. ಇಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನಗಳು ಏನಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಈ ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ನಾನು ಪ್ರೀತಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. Not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. Had you rather Caesar were living, and die all slaves, than that Caesar were dead. To live all freemen, as Caesar loved me, I weep for him. So Caesar loved me. Caesar nannana ಪ್ರೀತಿಸಿದ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಣ್ಣೀರಿದೆ. So I weep for him. Since Caesar loved me, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice at it. So ಅವನು ತುಂಬಾ ಅದೃಷ್ಟವಂತ ಯಾರು? ಸೀಸರ್. ಅವನ ಅದೃಷ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಖುಷಿ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಐ ರಿಜಾಯ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್. ಅದನ್ನ ಸಂತೋಷದಿಂದ ಕುಣಿದು ಕುಪ್ಪಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅವನ ಗೆಲುವಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ಅವನ ಅದೃಷ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಖುಷಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಆಸ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ವೇಲಿಯಂಟ್, ಐ ಹಾನರ್ ಹಿಮ್. ಅವನು ತುಂಬಾ ಧೈರ್ಯಶಾಲಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದ, ತುಂಬಾ ಬ್ರೇವ್ ವಾರಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದ, ವೇಲಿಯಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದ, ಧೈರ್ಯವಂತನಾಗಿದ್ದ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಗೌರವ ಇದೆ. ಐ ಹಾನರ್ ಹಿಮ್. But as he was ambitious, I slave him. Slave, SLEW. He was ambitious. ಅವನು ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆಯವನಾಗಿದ್ದ, ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಅವನನ್ನ ಸಾಯಿಸಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು, that ambition was posing danger to Republican ideology, was posing danger to Republican principles. The principles of peace, liberty, equality, liberty and equality, motivated by liberty and equality. So he was posing danger to such principles of republic. In a way, he was posing danger to what? The Roman ideology. He was posing danger to what the Roman ideology says. So equal share of power. So power should be shared even with the people. ಸೊ ಜನರ ಕೈಲೇ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಸೊ ರಿಪಬ್ಲಿಕನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಜನರ ಕೈಲಿನ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಜನರ ಕೈಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತವನ್ನು ಪ್ರತಿಪಾದಿಸಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಅಂತ ರಿಪಬ್ಲಿಕನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಲಜಿಗೆ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಇವನ ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ he was ambitious, I slave him. So what does he says? As he was ambitious, I slave him. He says ಅವನು ತುಂಬಾ ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆಯವನಾಗಿದ್ದ, ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವನು ನನ್ನಿಂದ ಕೊಲ್ಲಲ್ಪಟ್ಟ, ನಾನು ಅವನನ್ನು ಕೊಂದೆ. There is tears for his love. ಅವನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಣ್ಣೀರಿದೆ. Joy is fortune. ಅವನ ಅದೃಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ, ಅವನ ವಿಜಯಗಳಿಗೆ, ಒಂದು ವಿಕ್ಟರಿಗೆ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಖುಷಿ ಇದೆ, ಸಂತೋಷ ಇದೆ. Honor for his valor. ಅವನ ಧೈರ್ಯವಂತಿಕೆಗೆ, ಅವನ ಒಂದು ಪರಾಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಗೌರವ ಇದೆ, ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ. And death for his ambition. ಅವನ ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆಗೆ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾವು ಅನ್ನೋದಿದೆ ಅಂತಾನೆ. Who is here so base that would be a bondman? If any speak for him, have I offended? Who is here so rude that would not be a Roman? If any speak for him, have I offended? Who is here so vile that will not love his country? So he's trying to chade or what? Ignite that patriotic zeal among the public. He wants to say one thing that is quite clear. So he killed for a cause. What is that cause? The love towards his nation. The unmatchable, the matchless love that he had for his nation. Nobody, no Roman loved Rome so much to such an extent than Brutus. Brutus was a hardcore patriot. So that is visible in these words. Who is here so vile that will not love his country? ಅಷ್ಟು ಕೆಟ್ಟವರು ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ ದೇಶವನ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸದೆ ಇರುವವರು. So actually, these are the exact feelings. These words do come out of his feelings. ಭಾವನೆಗಳಿಂದಾನೇ ಈ ಪದಗಳು ಬಂದಿರೋದು. He is not acting. So there is a real cause for Brutus to kill Caesar. What is that real cause? He has just revealed it. He has just revealed it in this speech addressing the Roman mob, Act 3, Scene 2. ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಭಾಷಣ. Okay, so he is trying to convince the Roman mob convince the Roman mob with the proper reason for the killing of Julius Caesar. The other side, after defending his case, Brutus exits from the scene. He exits from the scene. He leaves. He departs and allows Mark Antony to take the center stage. We should not forget that Brutus is defending all the senators. The senators, he is talking on behalf of those senators. Okay, those plebeians who kill Caesar. And the plebeians are again the secret Romans. They are also called as secret Romans. They are the ones who killed Caesar. And Brutus again takes the lead. He takes the lead and defends the cause for the killing. And he takes the lead, the center stage, and defends the cause. And after defending the cause, what happens? They all leave the scene. Okay, and you see Mark Antony taking the center stage. So you can see Brutus leaves. What does he say? He says, "Good countrymen, let me depart alone. Let me depart alone. And for my sake, stay here with Antony. Do grace to Caesar's corpse and grace his speech tending to Caesar's glory, which Mark Antony is allowed to make." So they all depart from the scene. So they are pretty sure. So they allow Mark Antony to take the center stage. They give him the chance to address the people, the public. They feel convinced that Mark Antony is going to defend them. But Antony's political oratory is such that the audience are often taken in by it. His emotion is genuine. So, but again, though it appears genuine, Mark Antony, as the critics consider, critics feel that Mark Antony is really cunning. Okay, he is not open or straightforward. He doesn't fall victim to the emotions like Brutus. So Brutus becomes a victim for the kind of emotions, the kind of feelings that he had towards his nation, isn't it? That kind of love that he had for his nation. But whereas this man, though his emotions are genuine, okay, he is cunning. That is what the critics have felt. It is the subtle manipulation of the audience which lies beneath the apparent artlessness of the speech that is so clever. So ಅವನು ಇಡೀ ಭಾಷಣ ನೀವು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಂಟೋನಿಯ ಇಡೀ ಭಾಷಣವನ್ನು ನೀವು ಗಮನಿಸಿದಾಗ ವಿದಾಯ ಭಾಷಣ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಅ ಫ್ಯೂನರಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್. ಇಡೀ ವಿದಾಯ ಭಾಷಣವನ್ನು ನೀವು ಗಮನಿಸಿದ್ರೆ there is a skill. He So whatever that the revenge or the kind of not hatredness, he is so disgusted and unhappy with the ongoings, with the situation that is existing in the Rome. So he is unhappy with the killing of Julius Caesar. So he wants to take revenge. So how can he do that? So he has to convince the Roman mob. How can he convince the Roman mob? So he does it with a skillful speech. Very, very artistic he is in addressing the gathering, the assembly. So there is a subtle manipulation of the audience. Manipulation, he knows how to manipulate, so how to psychologically take control. So how to take control of the minds of the people who have gathered there. So how to manipulate their psychology, how to manipulate their thinking, their thoughts. Okay, subtle manipulation of the audience which lies beneath. So whatever the criticism or the brutal way of criticizing, so in a very subtle way, he criticizes these senators, these people, the secret Romans who killed Julius Caesar. It's not visible. ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ, ಎದ್ದು ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ. ಅವನ ಒಂದು ಟೀಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಅವನ ಒಂದು ಕೋಪ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಹಿಡನ್. ಅದು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ವ್ಯಂಗ್ಯವಾಗಿ, ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಸಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. So look at this speech, Friends, Romans, Act 3, Scene 2. They may ask you in exam. So elaborate or describe Mark Antony's funeral speech. They may ask you in exam. Describe Mark Antony's funeral speech. Act 3, Scene 2. ನಾನು ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಅದು ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಒರೇಟರಿ, ಒಂದು ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಭಾಷಣ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಸಚ್ ದ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಫನ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಇನ್ ಬೈಟ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜನಗಳ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನು ತುಂಬಾ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾಗಿ, ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಗೆಲ್ತಾನೆ ಆ ವಿದಾಯ ಭಾಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ, ಫ್ಯೂನರಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಸ್ ಎಮೋಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಜೆನ್ಯೂನ್. ಭಾವನೆಗಳು ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕವಾದಂತ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಸಟಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನಿಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ which lies beneath the apparent heartlessness of the speech that is so clever. The speech appears artless. ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ರಸ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಜನರನ್ನ, ತುಂಬಾ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾಗಿ ಜನರ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ವ್ಯಂಗ್ಯಭರಿತವಾಗಿ ಟೀಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ, ಯಾರನ್ನ ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್ ರೋಮನ್ಸ್ ನ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಭಾಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ರೋಮನ್ ಮಾಬ್ನ. ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ರೋಮನ್ಸ್, ಕಂಟ್ರಿಮೆನ್, ಲೆಂಡ್ ಮಿ ಯುವರ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್. ನೋಡಿ, ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ರೋಮನ್ಸ್, ಕಂಟ್ರಿಮೆನ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಾಡಿನ ಜನರೇ, ಲೆಂಡ್ ಮಿ ಯುವರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಸಹ ದೇಶದ ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಸಹ ದೇಶದ ದೇಶಭಕ್ತರೇ, ನನ್ನ ದೇಶ ನನ್ನ ದೇಶದ ಬಂಧು ಬಾಂಧವರೇ ಅಂತ. ಲೆಂಡ್ ಮಿ ಯುವರ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಿವಿಗಳನ್ನು ನನಗೆ ಕೊಡಿ. ಲೆಂಡ್ ಮಿ ಯುವರ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್, ಕಿವಿಗೊಟ್ಟು ಕೇಳಿ. ಐ ಕಮ್ ಟು ಬರಿ ಸೀಸರ್, ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಹಿಮ್. ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಊಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಅಂತ್ಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಅವನನ್ನು ಹೊಗಳಿಕೆಗಲ್ಲ. ದ ಈವಿಲ್ ದಟ್ ಮೆನ್ ಡೂ ಲಿವ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಮ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಂಬಿಷನ್? ಸೀಸರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಅವನ ಒಂದು ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅವನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹತ್ವಾಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ ಇತ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಟೀಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಯಾರು? ಈ ಸೆನೆಟರ್ಸ್ ನ, ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್ ರೋಮನ್ಸ್ ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಯು ನೋ ನೌ ದಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಹಿಸ್ heirs, or if you should, oh, what could come out of it? So ಅಲ್ಲಿ he is trying to defend Caesar. ಸೊ ಸೀಸರ್ದು ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ತಪ್ಪು ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಕೊಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೀಸರ್ನದು ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ತಪ್ಪು ಕಾಣಿಸಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಓಕೆ, so let us see. So what happens there? They all so at last Antony buries Caesar's corpse on the Caesar ದೇಹವನ್ನ ಬರಿ ಮಾಡಿದ. The purpose of the scene, Act 3, Scene 3, is to dramatize in one violent incident, the result of Antony's speech. The first act of mob, their emotions excited and their reason obscured, is the senseless murder of an innocent man, Cinna the poet instead of conspirator Cinna. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, The Roman mob, they are so angry. There are angry Roman mob because Mark Antony is able to ignite or excite the emotions of the Roman mob. ಅದನ್ನ ಇಗ್ನೈಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ಕಿಡಿಯನ್ನು ಹತ್ತಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ರೋಮನ್ ಮಾಬ್ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೋಪದೃತರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Okay, they want to take revenge. They are against these senators who have killed Julius Caesar. So what happens in Act 4? In Act 4, in this scene, we are shown the result as a higher political level, the deliberate, cold-blooded imposition of death sentence on a long list of Romans. So Brutus ಮತ್ತೆ ಉಳಿದಂತ ಸೆನೆಟರ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಡೆತ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅವರನ್ನ ಗಲ್ಲಿಗೇರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಆದೇಶ ಜನರ ಒಂದು ತೀರ್ಪಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So you can see they have nothing to do with the friendship. So they all almost everyone, Brutus, Cassius, they all escape from the scene. So you can see they are in the war field already. Okay, they are ready to fight to defend themselves. On the other side, you have Octavius Caesar. Octavius Caesar, Julius Caesar, the cousin brother, he has returned. He has returned and he has joined hands with Mark Antony. So Mark Antony ಒಂದಿಗೆ ಕೈ ಜೋಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So both of them, Mark Antony and Octavius Caesar, want to take revenge. They are ready to take revenge against Brutus and Cassius. You can see Brutus criticizes Cassius in front of the servants. So Brutus ಮತ್ತೆ Cassius ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಕ್ವಾರಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜಗಳ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ in the camp, in the battlefield. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಒಬ್ರಿಗೊಬ್ರು ದೋಷಾರೋಪಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ. So they are quarreling, they are accusing each other. So what happens here, which is a serious breach of military etiquette in any army. So ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯ ಯುದ್ಧದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ, so it is normally nothing but demoralizing the soldiers. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೈನಿಕರ ಒಂದು ನೈತಿಕ ಸ್ಥೈರ್ಯವನ್ನ ಕುಸಿಯೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವುದು, ಇಬ್ಬರು ನಾಯಕರು ಸೈನಿಕರ ಮುಂದೆ ಕಿತ್ತಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. They are accusing each other. Brutus is accusing Cassius and Cassius is accusing Brutus for allowing Mark Antony to live, for allowing Mark Antony to respire, because Cassius feels that Brutus committed a big blunder by allowing Mark Antony to live, because it is the same Mark Antony who is causing danger to them. So whereas Brutus on the other side is blaming Cassius for their misfortune, for their dreadful situation. ಇಂಥ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾಶಿಯಸ್ ಕಾರಣ ಅಂತ ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ಅವನ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. So at the same time there is there comes a news. Brutus comes to know that his wife Portia is dead. Because she is languishing, suffering because of her husband's absence, and she knows that her husband is going to be executed. And Brutus, he feels that he had staked his moral being by being corrupt. So in Act 4, Scene 3, so it is time for Brutus to introspect ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ. So at the time of introspection, remember March, the 8th of March, did not great Julius bleed for justice's sake? What villain touched his body that did stop, and not for justice? What shall one of us that struck the foremost man of all this world, but for supporting robbers, shall we now contaminate our fingers with base bribes, and sell the mighty space of our large honors for so much trash as my grasped thus? I had rather be a dog and bathe a room than such a Roman. He is cursing himself. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಶಾಪ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ. He feels disgusted with what he has done to Caesar. So he is introspective. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅವನ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೇ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಅಸಹ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. No man bears the sorrow better, and he comes to know that Portia is dead. Act 4, Scene 3 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪೋರ್ಷಿಯಾನ ಸಾವಿನ ಸುದ್ದಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, and that increases his suffering. And wife farewells Portia, we must die. with meditating that she must die once. I have the patience to endure it now. So ಅವನಿಗೆ ನನಗೆ ತಾಳ್ಮೆ ಇದೆ ಈಗ ನಾವು I can endure that pain ಅಂತಾನೆ. And the ghost of again scene 3 act 4 ghost scene ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. So which was not necessary. So critics feel that Shakespeare intentionally included the ghost scene. Act 4 scene 3 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ದೆವ್ವದ ಏನು ಸೀಸರ್ನ ದೆವ್ವ ಅಥವಾ ಆತ್ಮ ಪ್ರೇತಾತ್ಮ ಆ ಒಂದು ಯುದ್ಧದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಯುದ್ಧ ಭೂಮಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಯಾರು ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕ್ಗಳು, ಇದು ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಆದರೆ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಫರ್ಗೆಟ್ ದಟ್ ಶೇಕ್ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ ವಾಸ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಲಿಜಬೆಥನ್ ಥಿಯೇಟರ್. ಸೊ ಎಲಿಜಬೆಥನ್ ಥಿಯೇಟರ್ ಆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲಿಜಬೆತ್ನ ಕಾಲ, ರಾಣಿ ಎಲಿಜಬೆತ್ ಆಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಂತ ಕಾಲ ಏನಿದೆ 1560, 70, 80, 90, 16ನೇ ಶತಮಾನದ ಆರಂಭ. ಸೊ 1601 to 1610 ಈ ಕಾಲಘಟ್ಟ ಏನಿದೆ 40 ವರ್ಷ, ಆ ಕಾಲಘಟ್ಟಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇಕ್ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ ಜೀವಿತಾವಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರು ಪ್ರೇತಾತ್ಮ, ದೆವ್ವ, ಆತ್ಮಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಸೂಪರ್ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. ಆ ಒಂದು ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್, ಸಾರ್ಸರಿ, ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್, ಮಂತ್ರಗಳು, ಜ್ಯೋತಿಷ್ಯ ಹೇಳೋದು, ಇಂಥ ವಿಷಯಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಎಲಿಜಬೆಥನ್ ನಾಟಕ ನೋಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆ ಕಾಲಘಟ್ಟದ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಆ ನಂಬಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ಎನ್ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಶೇಕ್ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವರ ನಾಟಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪ್ರೇತಾತ್ಮಗಳು, ದೆವ್ವಗಳನ್ನು ಆವಾಗಿಂದ ಆವಾಗ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ಗೆ ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೇತಾತ್ಮ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದ ಗೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೀಸರ್ ಅಪಿಯರಿಂಗ್ and Brutus is terrified. He's terrified with the scene, with the incident. And what happens later on? Both Octavius Caesar and Mark Antony, they are on the verge of seizing Brutus and Cassius' army. They are about to be defeated. ಯಾರ್ದು ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ನ ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ಯಾಶಿಯಸ್ ನ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಮಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಸೋಲುಂಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಾದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಇವರಿಬ್ರು ಆತ್ಮಹತ್ಯೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ. ಬೋತ್ ಕ್ಯಾಶಿಯಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ ದೇ ಕಮಿಟ್ ಸುಯಿಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ಯುದ್ಧ ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರಿಬ್ರು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇಬ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದಟ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ದೇ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಿವೇಟೆಡ್. ದೇ ವುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ದೆಮ್. They do not want them to seize. Cassius has predicted before in this play that he will take his own life. Caesar's murderer has become his revenger. So again, as I told you, say Cassius is fully aware that nobody has any right to take his life. So if he has to die, it has to be decided by himself. He will take his own life. Nobody has any authority. Nobody has any authority or right to take my life. That was his opinion. Okay, so he commits suicide. So until the assassination of the unscrupulous Cassius and the honest Brutus were in dramatic contrast. After the assassination, the conflict and the contrast is largely between Antony and the conspirators. The conspirator of the first half of the play has become the haunted Roman patriot in the second half. So illi they are the same conspirators in the first part have become what? Haunted patriot and haunted Roman patriots. So again, it is the Brutus who appears to be a true patriot, not Cassius. Cassius ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ನಿಮಗೆ ದೇಶಾಭಿಮಾನ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ಲ. Cassius ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಯಿಸ್ತಾನೆ? You all know the sole reason for Cassius to kill Caesar was jealousy, animosity, hatredness he had for Caesar. So what happens there? There is a character called Strato. Brutus husks him. In fact, it's a servant called Strato. He husks him to come with a spear. ಒಂದು ಹೀಟಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಾ ಅಂತಾನೆ. STRATO, Strato. So he husks him to come with a spear. So whereas Brutus runs himself and ಓಡ್ ಬಂದು ಆ ಈಟಿಗೆ ಅವನನ್ನು ಚುಚ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ. Okay, so he kills himself. Who? Brutus. He kills himself, and that is how he dies. And at the end of the play, you can see both Antony and Octavius Caesar. They decide to give a warm warm handing to Brutus' body. So they want to give him a respectable, what, honorable farewell or funeral, because they all know that Brutus died for a noble cause. He died for a noble cause. What was that cause? He wanted to uphold the Roman ideology. He wanted to uphold the spirits of Rome. There was a specific cause for Brutus to kill Caesar. For that reason, they decide to give an honorable or respectable funeral to, or a farewell journey to Brutus. So look at these words. This was the noblest Roman of them all. So as I told you, these words are uttered by Antony, Mark Antony. So who is the noblest? Brutus. So this was the noblest Roman of them all. All the conspirators, save only he, did that. They did in envy of great Caesar. ಉಳಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಂಚುಕೋರರು ಸೀಸರನ್ನ ಸಾಯಿಸಿದ್ದು ಎನ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ದ್ವೇಷದಿಂದ, ಅಸೂಯೆಯಿಂದ, ಜಲಸಿಯಿಂದ. ಎನ್ವಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಜಲಸಿ. ಸೊ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಕಿಚ್ಚಿನಿಂದ. All the conspirators, save only, ಇವನನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು, save only he, did that. They did in envy of great Caesar. He only in general honest thought and common good to all made one of them. ಇವನೊಬ್ಬನೇ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಉದ್ದೇಶಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ, ಸದುದ್ದೇಶಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಸೀಸರನ್ನ ಕೊಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದು. ಉಳಿದವರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಕಿಚ್ಚಿನಿಂದ, ಅಸೂಯೆಯಿಂದ ಅವನನ್ನ ಸಾಯಿಸಿದ್ರು. He only in a general honest thought and common good to all made one of them. His life was gentle and the elements so mixed in him that the nature might stand up and say to all the world, this was a man. So even ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಕೂಡ ಎದ್ದು ಗೌರವ ಸೂಚಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ ಇವನಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಈವನ್ ನೇಚರ್, ಎಂಟೈರ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್, ನೇಚರ್, ಇಡೀ ಮಾನವ ಕೋಟಿ ಎದ್ದು ನಿಂತು ಗೌರವ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸಬೇಕಾದಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಬ್ರೂಟಸ್ದು ಮಾತ್ರ. So his life was gentle and elements so mixed in him that nature might stand up and say to all the world, this was a man. This was a man who lived like a man. He was the noblest of all Romans. So who is the greatest of all Romans? So it is Julius Caesar who is considered as the greatest of all Romans. And who is noblest of all Romans? In the history of Julius Caesar, in the history of Rome, it is Brutus who is the noblest of all Romans. And who is the last Roman? Who is considered as the last Roman? It is Cassius. Ketta Vyaktitva idanta Cassius is considered as the last Roman. Okay, look at this Octavius Caesar. What does he say? According to his virtue, let us use him with all respect and rights of burial. Within my tent his bones tonight shall lie. ಇವತ್ತು ರಾತ್ರಿ ಅವನ ದೇಹ ಈ ಟೆಂಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗೆ, ಅವನ ದೇಹ, ಬೋನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇಹ, ಮೃತದೇಹ, ನಮ್ಮ ಟೆಂಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡಿ. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಗೌರವಪೂರ್ಣ ವಿದಾಯ ಕೊಡೋಣ. ಓಕೆ, with my tent his bones tonight shall lie, most like a soldier ordered honorably, so call the field to rest. ಯುದ್ಧವನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸೋಣ, ಯುದ್ಧವನ್ನ ಅಂತ್ಯ ಮಾಡೋಣ. and let's away to part the glories of this happy day. ಇದು ಖುಷಿಯಾದ ದಿನ, ನಮ್ಮ ಶತ್ರುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ವಿನಾಶ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. let's away to part the glories. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಒಂದು ದಿನವನ್ನ ಖುಷಿಯಿಂದ ಆಚರಿಸೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಕ್ಟಾವಿಯಸ್ ಸೀಸರ್, ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಂಟೋನಿ, ದೇ ಆಲ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಆ ಒಂದು ಯುದ್ಧ ಭೂಮಿಯಿಂದ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಯುದ್ಧ ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ನಡೆದಿದ್ದು ಫಿಲಿಪಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಊರು. ಅದು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಇಟಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಫಿಲಿಪಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಊರು, ಒಂದು ಯುದ್ಧ ನಡೀತಕ್ಕಂಥ, ಯುದ್ಧ ನಡೆದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಫಿಲಿಪಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲೇ. ಅದು ಇವತ್ತಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಅಳಿದು ಉಳಿದ ಅವಶೇಷಗಳು ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. though it was disturbed by volcanoes, persistent volcanoes. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಜ್ವಾಲಾಮುಖಿ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ, ನಿರ್ಜೀವ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜ್ವಾಲಾಮುಖಿ ಫಿಲಿಪಿಯನ್ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ. ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಹಲವಾರು ಜ್ವಾಲಾಮುಖಿಯ ಹೊಡೆತವನ್ನ ಎದುರಿಸಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಫಿಲಿಪಿ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಯುದ್ಧ ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಯುದ್ಧ ಆಗಿದ್ದು, ಅದು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಇಟಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅವತ್ತಿನ ರೋಮನ್ ಎಂಪೈರ್, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಇಟಲಿ, ಅದು ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಕಾಣಬಹುದು. ಜೂಲಿಯಸ್ ಸೀಸರ್ನ ಒಂದು ಭಯಾನಕ ಅಂತ್ಯ, ಒಂದು ಭಯಾನಕ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ದುರಂತ ಅಂತ್ಯವನ್ನ ಶೇಕ್ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿ, ಸೊ he has masterly picturized or drawn or wrote this play. So Julius Caesar, in fact, is a tragic play. It can also be categorized as a historical play. Though Julius Caesar doesn't show his presence, you don't feel his presence in all the 5 acts, though his presence is missing in all the 5 acts. Julius Caesar's personality or the greatness makes Shakespeare to give the title for this play as Julius Caesar. Though it is Brutus who stays stagnant, the presence of Brutus is very much apparent throughout the play, from scene 1, act 1 to the last scene of act 5. You can see the presence of Marcus Brutus very much visible in all the 5 acts. But still, by keeping in mind of the greatness or the elevated personality of Julius Caesar, it is visible idea, or it is it is an intelligent thought or idea. You can think, you can feel, you can understand that Shakespeare was intelligent in giving the title of this play as Julius Caesar. It's the wisest decision according to me. So that's all about Julius Caesar. If at all, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. You have my number. Okay, so my number is 9986019910. So that's my WhatsApp number. You can ask me if there are any questions regarding the syllabus that I have covered till today in all these 12 classes. If you have got any question, any query to make, any doubt, any question to ask, you can certainly log into me. You can certainly pose a question through WhatsApp message. So this is all. Means this is the end of my language class. This is the 12th hour. So this is the end of this language class. I wish you all the best. Do well in the exams and perform well in the exams. So I hope you all get good marks in English language and you overcome the difficult difficult subject called English language, and you people will pass this paper without any difficulty. I hope so. So because if you pass in English, so it is easy for you to clear all the remaining subjects. So I hope you don't find any difficulty in answering the questions that is posed in the exam. And I certainly feel all of you who are listening to my lecture, those who have missed the class, would also pass the second year BA English examination without any hassle. So thank you one and all. All the best for your future. See you.